to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. This is a general reading for healing yourself. And so I'm going to start off with using the pendulum. I'm going to ask it to select a card from the Healing Yourself reading cards by Ina Segal. Once we've done that, I'm going to do a reading with the tarot about around this card that I'm selecting for you. So there's no date on this. I trust that when it comes to your feed and when you watch this video, it's meant for you. And so let's begin right now. I've already calibrated my pendulum, and I'm going to begin by asking it to select one of these cards right now for the collective as to how they can heal themselves. What do they need to heal right now? Looks like it's coming back over here. Yeah, this is the card right here. Looked like it was going over here, and then I could feel it pulling back actually. So it's fascinating how that works. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll read the card for you, and then we will do a tarot reading on it. So you have interesting card. I think we all can relate to this one. It's called Procrastination, number 8. You need to change your tune and stop putting things off to tomorrow that you can do today. You are being called to action. There have been important tasks that you have delayed. Even if it is something that you don't want to do, like cleaning the house, paying the bills, looking for a job, losing weight, doing your taxes, studying, etc. Now is the time to take responsibility and move forward. The point of power is always in the present. This card is showing you that there is an urgency for you to take action. If you are putting off something that is meaningful to you and doubting whether you can do it, the message is to have courage to face your fears and do what you love. What is the worst thing that can happen? You make a mistake. Even if you do, you will learn. Wow, what a card to begin with here. So, where in your life are you being called to action? We're going to look at that. Maybe look at, maybe there's something that needs to heal from your shadow. So we're going to be doing some shadow work in this video. And so let's begin with the Curious Travels tarot deck. And then I'm going to clarify it with the Vintage Tarot. Tarot Vintage, actually, it's called. So let's begin by asking 3 cards. I'm going to pull 3 cards right now. And I want to look at, first of all, what situation, problem, pattern you're dealing with right now that's in relation to this procrastination and why you're procrastinating from moving towards what you know you want to do. And then we're going to look at what's coming up from your shadow, because it's going to be your shadow that's actually what's coming up from your unconscious to heal, because that's what's going to be directing or having the most impact on the situation that you're sitting in. And then we're going to get some advice from the tarot as to how you can move this along. So let's start off with a card for what situation, problem, pattern that you're dealing with right now in regards to this procrastination. All right, you have the 3 of Swords. The 3 of Swords, and that was sort of sideways, so I'm going to leave it sideways. Sometimes that means something. And then I'm going to ask for what's coming up from your shadow to heal that's impacting this, like I said. What's coming up for healing here? That's related to procrastination. you have the 6 of Cups. And right after it, clarifying that, you have the 7 of Cups. Interesting, one after the other. I did shuffle these before I came on. And finally, what advice from the tarot? Oh, that one slipped out for me. You have the 2 of Swords. All right, so we have our main cards, and now what we're going to do is we're going to look at, I'm going to get some clarification from the Vintage Tarot. Again, this was pre-shuffled, so I'll just give it a quick one. So can I have some clarification for a couple cards to clarify the 3 of Swords here? Oops. Okay, so you have the Temperance in reverse. You have the Emperor card. And you also have the Knight of Swords coming in with his sword right behind the Emperor. 6 of Cups with the 7 of Cups. A couple cards to clarify. Strength card, and again that was sideways, and the Knight of Wands. And the 2 of Swords. Couple cards for that one. You have the Death card coming in sideways, as well as the 5 of Cups in reverse. And you have the 2 5s here. It's 5 of Swords. So let's begin our reading. So what situation, problem, pattern are you dealing with right now in regards to this procrastination? Well, I see here you have this 3 of Swords. And, you know, first of all, the Swords talk about our mental energy, our mental thoughts. It's our mental body. And so you can think of, you know, all the things that are constantly spinning in your head oftentimes. And this is what causes us our pain. We often think that our problems are what we're thinking in our head, but that's not our truth. But we continue to spin on it. And so I'm seeing here that these swords, these 3 of Swords, these mental thoughts that you're continuing to spin on, are causing you a hell of a lot of pain right now. And this is in a sideways position because you know, I think you've been sitting it for a while. It could be something. It could be a pattern that's coming up again. And in relation to this procrastination, well, there's something that you know, you have this, maybe you have this intuitive nudge that's coming up, but there's just a lot of pain that you're sitting in. And sometimes, you know, when we're wanting to do something, there's something we want to do for ourselves. There's just like, we can't even look at it, especially when there's some pain coming up with it. It could be something like, you know, the shame around it that you're feeling, that you're maybe not identifying as shame, because shame can be painful in itself. And so there's some real pain coming up for you. Temperance card comes behind it, and the Temperance card always speaks about this middle ground card. And if you notice, in an upright position, this angel is dipping their toe into the water. And when I see water on all my cards, it always refers to emotions. And this is sideways here. And Temperance talks about, you know, sometimes this pain that we can feel. And you know, there's different ways that we can try to avoid feeling this pain. And maybe that's where the procrastination is coming in. You're just like, this pain's coming up again. And, you know, maybe I'll just deal with it later. Maybe I just don't want to touch it right now. And you know it's there. You know it's there because it may keep coming up. And the Temperance card is here to remind us that, you know, this is a journey. This is a process. We don't have to deal with this pain that's coming up all at once. It's not something that is going to be fixed like this. But the Temperance card comes in and says, you know, can you just dip your toe in the water here? But it's in reverse here, and I can see again, sorry, not in reverse, was it in reverse maybe, or sideways? But I know it was in reverse. Yeah, we'll say it was in reverse. Sorry. It's just sometimes when I change the card around, it's like, okay, where was it again? But yeah, I remember turning it around. So yeah, it's just like, it's a process, and I think that's what it needs to come out with this card, because you have the Emperor card coming out, an interesting card to come out right after the Temperance, because the Emperor card talks about this individual that's been sitting on his chair for so long, this cement chair, and he's almost like he's turning into it. And he is this father-like number 4 of the major arcana that is very stable and rigid. I like to use that word rigid with this, because this is the card that talks about rules of society, these societal rules these imaginary societal rules that we follow and that we have continued to follow. And so I'm wondering here if there's some kind of rules that are spinning in your head that are telling you why you can't go to this pain. Because right behind this Emperor is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is, my knights in my deck are called my freedom fighters. Those are the part of us that want to be free, are fighting to be free from this pain. Notice how it has a sword in its hand, because this part of us that wants to be free, and everybody has this part of us, it's an adolescent part of us that wants to be free from this pain, because they want to move towards their authentic self. Think of a teenager. All they want to do is be free to be themselves. And so I see here that there's this pull. There's this pull of yours. You've got this 2 things going on here. You've got this part of you that's kind of telling yourself, spinning in your head, that's saying, don't touch this pain. Don't go near it. Don't even lean into it to see what it is, because you're petrified of it. And then you've got this other part that's trying to pull you towards it, saying, this is your authenticity. Go towards this pain, because this is what you need to do in order to heal this, so you can do this, whatever it is you're wanting to do, right? And then you got that Temperance in the middle of it. It's trying to, find some sort of middle ground for these 2 parts of yours that are pulling at each other. I wouldn't be surprised if you're sitting with a lot of anxiety right now because of what's going on in your system. And so in the second row, which is our shadow, and the shadow part of us are all those things that we put away and when we were younger, because they got repressed, because it was things about ourselves that we were told that weren't good enough. And there are these things that we need to heal. So this top row is really your outer world. That's the world that you're seeing right now, that you're very much consciously aware of. And your outer world is a reflection of this shadow. Our outer world is our reflection of our inner world. So let's go see what's happening in your inner world, which is your shadow, because that's what's driving what's happening right now. It tells us what we need to heal. So this is the deep dive into what we need to heal, because that there's some healing here that needs to take place. And you're starting off with the 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups is a beautiful card. The 6s in my deck have a duality to them. And you see that this older child is giving to this younger child. And I always say that, and there's on one hand you have this giving, and then you have this younger child that's receiving. And so this is very much a duality of giving and receiving. But the 6 of Cups is one of the cards in my deck that represent our inner child. And so when an inner child card comes up, like the 6 of Cups, talks about your inner child needing healing, needs to be listened to, needs to be understood. And there's some real giving that needs to be done on your part so that your inner child can receive. And if we don't take the time to give to our inner child, it won't be able to receive what it needs to heal. And that was clarified by the Seven of Cups right away. Seven of Cups speaks about all these weird things that are on offer right here. See all those weird things right here? It kind of causes a lot of distraction. And for me, because this is a healing channel, this card right here is my card of dissociation. It's my card of distraction, being distracted. Now, when you were young, your inner child carries a lot of our pain. Our inner child carries a lot of our emotions that are associated with the pain, carries a lot of our trauma, carries a lot of our memories. And here it is sitting right in the front of your shadow. And because of that pain that came to them when they were younger, traumatic incidents, memories that are carrying these big emotions, you couldn't carry that when you were younger. And so what happened is you end up dissociating, which means you end up going out of your body because you couldn't stay in your body when you were younger. We're very grounded when we're younger, but when stuff starts to happen to us, and sometimes it happens at an early age, that's when our ego self will take us out of our head. Because our head is where we stay, because that's safe. It's safe for us because we don't feel in our head. With this pain coming up right here, you know, you're up in your head right now with your pain, but you need to get back to your inner child. And we do that by getting back into our body so we can feel. And so I can see here that, you know, you do have some trauma. You do have something that's coming up that your inner child is trying to get your attention and say, listen, like I need to share this with you. And I know there's a part of you when you were younger, like I said, you became very dissociated and up in your head. And this is a card that came in a sideways position. And the Strength card refers to doing that inner work, doing that, going inwards. And if it's not in the shadow, it's a card that refers to opening up that Pandora's box and looking at, you know, what kind of things happened to me when I was younger. What are these things that are sitting in my shadow here that I need to heal? And so I can see here as a child here, this was your strength here. This is your Strength card, and you really lost the strength. You really lost the strength to stay in your body and to feel these big emotions. You couldn't do it, like I said. And then you have a Knight of Wands. You have a knight that's sitting, another knight here. Interesting that your shadow ended with a knight and your outer world ended with a knight. So your inner and outer world are ending with these knights, this part of you that wants freedom. This one in your outer world wanted freedom for authenticity to be you. This one speaks about freedom to go into this direction, this new direction for yourself. This is the creative wand. This is the creative part of you, the one that knows your true purpose and where you're meant to go towards. And so what is beautiful about the shadow and what people don't realize is that, yeah, there's trauma here. Yeah, there's pain. There's big emotions that you need to feel. But once you start peeling away what's coming up from your shadow, we do that in, you know, little bits at a time, like this Temperance card right here. Once you start peeling away at it, we find that our true purpose, we get some clarity as to what direction we're supposed to go into. And so that's why you're procrastinating. You're procrastinating because there's this part of you, that this emperor that's probably telling you, like, do not even touch these emotions. Don't go there. They're dangerous. It's, you know, and that's where that procrastination comes in, that anxiety in your head, not wanting to go there. And so what's the advice from the tarot that's coming up here? Well, here, it wants you to look at the Two of Swords here. The Two of Swords is this card that refers to, again, you're talking about mental energy here. And it's someone in the Rider-Waite deck. It really has a good portrayal of this individual that has their arms crossed with these two swords and they're blindfolded. So it refers to someone that absolutely does not want to touch their emotions, and they're going to stay up in their heads. Like, so much so that this individual is sitting here. I almost see that, this card, it looks like there's a cow figure up here, but I can almost think of that stubborn as a bull. To me, it looks almost like it could be a bull maybe, where it's just like, I am not touching my emotions. I'm staying up in my head and I'm not touching them. And so the universe is saying, that way of thinking, where you're just stuck up in your head, you're not touching these emotions, and that just puts whatever it is, this procrastination of, you're putting things off, putting this pain off. You need to feel something so that you can move in a different direction here. The Death card comes in sideways here. The Death card speaks about there are things in your life that need to go. It could be old habits, it could be those old ways of thinking, like, I'm not doing this. I am not looking at this pain. I refuse to look at it. Sometimes it could mean there are people that need to go in our life. It's things that need to go so that something new can come in here. So there's something here that needs to go. And then you have these two cards that come out, 2 5s. Now, 5s are a lot of conflict, but 5s will bring about change. And the first card of change is your 5 of Cups here. In an upright position, the 5 of Cups, talks about this individual it's a very dark card. It's somebody that's really cloaked in darkness, where they're focused on these 3 cups, and that's all they're doing is focused on these 3 cups, and they're not willing to look at these two cups that are upright. They're not willing to realize that, if you follow this water here, if you follow the emotions, if you look at these emotions, because emotions are meant to flow, there is a silver lining over here. And I'm going to say that silver lining for you is that new direction that's sitting in your shadow. And this was in reverse here, because the universe is saying, it's time. It's time to look at, how are you stuck? How are you stuck on these emotions? Because we're not meant to be stuck on emotions. So maybe you're sitting in some real hopelessness. Maybe you're sitting in some depression right now, because you're just stuck on these emotions right here and you're not willing to budge. And then you have this 5 of Swords, which is the second 5 here. And this is going to explain, the reason why you have this, I'm going to say hopelessness, right, that you may be sitting in right now. There's something that, believe it or not, this depression card, this hopelessness card, we often like to think that, like, depression is an emotion. But depression or hopelessness is actually a block to another emotion that's sitting right behind it that we don't want to feel. And this one is what I call my bullying card. And if you look in the back, we have, first of all, this person in the front that's has this grimace on, and he's the bully. He's very proud of himself because, he's won this battle. But you have the victim back here where he's holding his head, and when I hold my head, I know I'm dealing with some shame. And so the universe is really wanting you to, move away from this stubbornness that you have in your head that's saying, I don't want to touch these emotions. It wants you to look at this hopelessness that you're sitting in, because right behind it is some shame that you need to deal with. And oftentimes we don't know we even have shame, because if we're sitting in hopelessness, we don't know we have it. And so there's an inner child here that's trying to get your attention that needs healing, because it has some hopelessness and it also has some shame that you need to look at. I'm going to leave you with a couple playlists, one on shame and one on depression. And in those playlists, I'm also going to have some help for you for journaling, so you can get in touch with your inner child and find out what they want to tell you. And so you can move out of this procrastination. You can move towards what it is you're needing to go towards, that you've been putting off for a while. So I want you to have compassion for yourself. This is the most difficult journey, the healing journey, but it's the most important one. So take care.